The Law and You, a look at laws in St. Vincent and the Grenadines which affect our daily lives. The Law and You, presented by lawyer panel P.R Campbell QC and brought to you on SVG-TV as a public service.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, greetings. Welcome to another presentation in this public service nation-building series, The Law and You. This is program number 869, coming to you on Monday the 24th of July, 2017. On this program, I will speak to you on the topic, the ownership of goods taken out on hire purchase. But before getting into the topic, a few preliminary comments. Firstly, and as usual, my deepest condolences go out to families which have suffered recent bereavements. And in that context, let me once again sympathize with the Marks family of Mariacourt, who laid to rest on Saturday afternoon one of their sons, Carl. Beautiful funeral service at the Roman Catholic Church in Mesopotamia, and soothing homily as usual by our good Monsignor. Let me also sympathize with the Rose family of Dayson Cottage on the passing of Mother Thelma Rose. She is somebody whom I have known for a long time. One of my younger brothers, now deceased, had two daughters with one of Miss Rose's grandchildren. So I got to know the Rose family fairly well. My deepest condolences to you all. Now, I usually send out condolences to families, as I've done tonight, which have suffered recent bereavements. And the turn has come in our own family, my own family. We have had a recent bereavement, and a dreadful one at that, in that one of my first cousins, Dolores Miller, also known as Dolores Campbell, was discovered on Friday last week dead in the house in which she lived at Liberty Lodge, apparently by foul play. It came as a shock when the news was telephoned to various family members that our beloved Didi had passed in such gruesome circumstances. I wouldn't go into the details, but in due course you'd probably read of it in the newspapers. She was just about a year or two younger than I am. So we grew up as children together. I could say that I've known her very well for over 65 years. And I commiserate with all members of the family who heard the sad news that our Didi is gone. The post-mortem was to have been held in the course of this afternoon, and the family would soon know the details. But she had been dead for a few days apparently in the house in which she lived, the house belonging to my aunt Beryl, who resides in England. So when I send out condolences Monday after Monday, you mustn't think that because you have not had a recent bereavement that you're tired of Mr. Campbell saying the same thing Monday night after Monday night. But every time I send out condolences, there's some family for whom the words bring a little bit of a comfort. You never know when the turn will come of any particular family to be in need of a little word of consolation. On a brighter note, let me say belated happy birthday to my friend and brother, the Honorable John Horn, who celebrated his 75th birthday a few days ago, but the official birthday party was held on Saturday evening. I want to tell you what a wonderful occasion it was. Good to see people there like Sir James Mitchell, who had figured so prominently as John's leader in the years when John was a minister of government. Several members of the Mitchell NDP fraternity, former ministers of government. It was nice to be mixing and mingling with former colleagues. Numbers of John's acquaintances from his various walks of life, members of the Kingston Chorale, Vincentians of high repute like Mr. Arden Bess, who has gone on to become a famous actor on stage, television and film in his adopted country of Canada. So John, you are a great guy, and it is our pleasure to be able to call you our friend. And let me echo the words of your inimitable MC for the night, Sebastian Bassi Alexander. May you live to see many, many, many more. Bassi did a first-class job, as usual, as Master of Ceremonies. Excuse me. Okay, the ownership of goods taken out on hire purchase. Let me begin the topic by painting you a familiar scenario. Let us imagine that there is a home in which there is a car in the garage and appliances in the kitchen or furnitures in the living room. And let us imagine that the home is subject to a mortgage to a financial institution. The car in the garage is subject to a bill of sale from a financial institution. And let us say refrigerator in the kitchen is subject to a hire purchase contract from one of the persons who sell goods on hire purchase among ordinary sales. The legal position as far as ownership is concerned differs. Let us take the property first. If the property is subject to a legal mortgage, in law, the property belongs to the institution from which the money was borrowed. and the property used as mortgage security for that loan. So if you're going to take out a mortgage to acquire property and you sign a legal mortgage, the property becomes owned by the institution from which you borrowed the money. It's theirs until you finish paying back. Now, this is just to recap what you should know quite well by now. So in terms of the property subject to a legal mortgage, the ownership of the property lies with the institution that loaned you the money to buy the property. Let us come now to the vehicle, the car in the garage, subject to a bill of sale. Well, the car in the garage in law belongs to you, the person who borrowed the money, except that your ownership rights are restricted. As long as you owe money under the bill of sale, you cannot part with possession of the vehicle without the permission of the institution that loaned you the money. It's still your vehicle. It's still licensed and insured in your name. But you can't dispose of it without the permission of, say, the credit union that loaned you the money to buy it on the strength of the bill of sale. However, when it comes to goods taken out on hire purchase, it is something totally different. When you take out goods on a hire purchase scheme in St. Vincent and the Grenadines under the present law, the goods belong to the institution from which you took it out on credit. And it continues to belong to that institution until the last installment is paid, according to St. Vincent law. Now, I stress according to St. Vincent law because in many other countries, the laws are different. So if you are just coming back from England, you are coming from a country where if you take out anything on hire purchase, be it a fridge, stove, furniture, a bed, whatever, after you have paid a few installments, the property in the goods pass to you. In other words, the goods become yours and cannot be repossessed, even if your installment payments fall into arrears. In England and some other countries, not in St. Vincent. In this country, if you take out anything on hire purchase, and let us say you're supposed to pay back 36 installments, and you have paid 35 installments, that property could still be repossessed for want of payment of the final installment. Because in the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines at present, and there's nothing to stop the government changing the law at some future time, but right now, and has always been the case in our laws, the goods remain the property of the place where you took them out. So if you take out a TV set from one of the stores in town that sell goods on credit, on hire purchase, until you have paid the last cent on that television set, it belongs to the place from where you took it out. It's not yours. So it can be repossessed for want of one installment. To repeat myself, in England that is not so. In Canada that is not so. Once you have paid back a certain number of installments, then goods cannot be repossessed in those countries. But in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, anything you take out on hire purchase can be repossessed once there's anything still owing on the credit price of that item. So suppose it's a washing machine. You take out a washing machine on credit. And you know these days, advertisements, radio, television, newspapers. Oh, take it and you don't have to pay anything but 3 months. First installment due 3 months' time. Okay, so you sign up. And in 3 months, you begin to pay. And you pay because the document you have signed to arrange the hire purchase terms will have a clause saying how many months or weeks or fortnights you have to pay back and how much a week or month or fortnight. That's in black and white. You sign for those things. But it's not yours. It doesn't become yours until you have paid every cent. And you clear off the loan. Then it becomes yours. I hope you understand that. So that endless problems occur when goods which have been taken out on hire purchase become damaged or defective in some way. Suppose you take out a washing machine. You've paid back installments. You're supposed to pay, say, 24 installments monthly or weekly, whatever it is. And when you paid half the installments, the washing machine goes bad. Can you say, I am not paying anything more till this washing machine is fixed? Well, the answer would be found in the wording of the document you signed. And it is very careful that you understand what you are signing when you take out anything on hire purchase. Because some documents say that even if the goods become defective during the life of the loan while it's being paid back, some documents say you are still responsible to pay the monthly or weekly amount without fail. But then the owner of the good, that is the store you took it out to, has a responsibility to try and get it repaired. So that where you take out goods which are subject to failure, and usually any appliance that has electronics or moving parts and so on. I mean, it's different if you take out a chair set. Unless something goes wrong and the leg breaks off, an arm breaks off, which is unusual. Nothing really goes wrong much with a chair set. But fridge, stove, washing machine, things go wrong with them. And the question as to whose responsibility is to fix it and within what time depends on the wording of the hire purchase agreement you would have signed. Now, the government has a consumer affairs division, and I can tell you that they are very good at assisting persons who get into problems with appliances and so on. So if you are in the position where you can possibly have a problem with an appliance you would have bought, sometimes even if you buy it outright for cash, if within the warranty period a problem develops, then you might save yourself a lot of money in legal fees by going to the Government Consumer Affairs Department and asking them to assist you. If you have enough patience and you are polite, you don't go there and quarrel with them and feel that they have to attend to your problem right away, because they may be dealing with many other problems of other persons, and you have to take your place in the queue. You can't expect to go now for now, and for the people them to put aside other people's problems they have been dealing with and deal with yours. No, you have to be patient. Give them time to work on your problem, and don't keep pestering them every day with phone calls and so on. Be sensible. But that division is doing very useful work, and I want to commend them on the useful work they do in helping people get over their consumer problems. But basically, when you are going to enter into a hire purchase agreement, if it is the first time you are going to be dealing with that particular firm, then try and get some advice as to the document you are asked to sign. And you know, in England, there was a time when you couldn't be made to sign a hire purchase agreement at the first visit. The law said you had to be given a form, it had to be explained to you, and you had to be given a certain amount of time, 1 or 2 or 3 days, before you were allowed to sign the form and take out the item. Because in their system, they wanted to make sure you understood what you are getting into. And bearing in mind, in law, the general rule is that you are bound by what you sign. So don't sign in ignorance. By ignorance, I mean not knowing what is going on. I don't mean, ignorance in the in the temporary sense of the word. Know what you're doing. Because usually once you sign a document, you really can't get out of it all that easily, unless you can show that you were misled deliberately and you relied on somebody in the firm for advice, and it is advice of the kind that the law permitted you to rely on. You can't go and say, well, the salesman had told me so and so. What do you think the salesmen are employed to do? They were employed to get sales. So sometimes the salesmen and saleswomen may not tell you the full story. Sometimes, I'm not saying they're dishonest, but sometimes some of them, chinks a little bit. So you have to, but when it comes, push comes to shove and the matter goes to court, first question, to whom did the salesperson owe his or her first responsibility? And you will discover that it is to his or her employer, not to you, the customer. All right? So don't rely on being able to go to court and say, well, the man did tell me so and so and I follow him. That could only work up to a certain extent. You see, in life, most legal problems can be avoided if people took a little time and use a little common sense and took some precautions. You know how many times somebody buys an item from a shop, it goes bad, they carry it back making noise, and When the matter is investigated, the problem is that they didn't follow the written instructions which came with the item they purchased. So if you buy anything at all and it has an instruction booklet, read the booklet, man. Understand what you can and cannot do so that you don't use the thing in the wrong way or fail to use it in the correct way. Common sense. If it is an item that you're accustomed to, well then okay, you get it, you set it up and so on. You're accustomed to that item, fine. But if you take out something as simple as a fan, a standing fan in your room, these things have instruction leaflets as to how to set it up and what to do and what not to do. If you haven't done one before and you attempt to do it yourself, read the instruction manual or leaflet carefully and understand what you're doing. If not, let somebody who knows what they're doing come and do it for you. Don't force and do things that you don't know anything about. Create a problem and carry it back and say the thing ain't working. What thing not working? You ain't working because you're not using your head. So in life, most problems can be avoided with some thought and common sense. Following instructions. Taking precaution. You buy some electrical appliance. They have instructions on how to plug it up. Don't go and do it the wrong way. And then when you blow a fuse or burn out something inside. Or you buy an appliance that is supposed to be used on 110 to 120 voltage. And you go on and plug it into a 220 voltage and bam, burns out the motor. You're going to carry it back and say the thing burn out. Think what burn out? You plug it in the wrong plug. You use it to 20 when you should be using 110, 115, 120. Simple as that. So the moral of that is that you must take precautions. So to get back to the topic, when you take out items on hire purchase, in laws of this country, unless something differently is signed up on the form you sign, the item belongs to the place you took it from until all installments are fully paid, okay? Fridge is not yours till you finish paying off it. So I hope I have been of some help to you understanding these matters. Right? So I look forward to being of further service to you next week, Monday DV, for another presentation in this public service nation building series, The Law and You. Do have a pleasant week, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, and may the good Lord continue to bless us all.
The Law and You, a look at laws in St. Vincent and the Grenadines which affect our daily lives. The Law and You, presented by lawyer panel P.R Campbell QC and brought to you on SVG-TV as a public service.